Breaking news. Yes, we're starting off with thieves running off with 540 eggs from a Seattle cafe. Where they taking them? To the pawn shop. They're going to get money in exchange. Now the pawn shop going to be selling eggs. You can take your TV down there, your PS5 down there, pawn it, get you back a dozen eggs or whatever. Even exchange. Nah, I'm lying. I'm lying. But don't put it past them. Don't put it past them. All right, so listen, y'all know how this goes, man. Question everything. You should. And remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Let's get to it.
A brazen heist as thieves break into a shed and grab the goods, stashing everything into the getaway van. Now, round two. The bad guys grab more stolen goods. Back and forth they go, running in the slippery snow. So what's so valuable? Eggs. Thieves made off with 540 eggs. This follows last week's great egg robbery when 100,000 eggs were stolen from a distributor in Pennsylvania. It's happening as bird flu cases surge, sending egg supplies plummeting and egg prices soaring.
The national egg shortage continues. Thieves were caught on camera stealing more than 500 eggs from a restaurant in Seattle. And while you probably check your eggs to make sure none are broken, these days you have to check to make sure you get a full dozen.
A brazen heist.
Listen, I know people who don't eat eggs looking at us like, these fools are crazy. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Absolutely are. I know you lying. I know you. We'd have still been sitting in there. Especially talking about they ordered the x-ray. That's at least a 24-hour wait. What do you mean? And don't even get me to the price. Bro, they do us so dirty over here, man. They do us so dirty. You know how long it take over here to see a doctor? A doctor. Like, no.
This is quite an outpouring for an accused killer. In the 2 months since United Healthcare chief Brian Thompson was gunned down in Midtown Manhattan, the online legal defense fund for Luigi Mangione has reached $300,000, and donations picked up after a news report said they had slowed down. Newsweek reported last week contributions to Mangione's fund had slowed to a trickle, and in response, his attorney said Luigi is aware of the fund and very much appreciates the outpouring of support. That remark and the reporting prompted a series of online posts from supporters that appeared to spark renewed interest in Mangione's case and donations to help him fight state and federal charges. One of those charges carries the possibility of the death penalty, and his legal team just added a court-appointed death penalty expert. Mangione has pleaded not guilty in state court. He's yet to enter a plea to the federal charges. His lawyer said Mangione would accept all donations to aid his defense. Robin.
Our story that's new at 5 tonight. Highland Park police working to identify victims after a recording device is discovered inside a school bathroom. A staff member found the device in the restroom at Highland Park High School. The investigation then found recordings had been made in the past at Edgewood Middle School. A student has been identified as the suspect. The city of Highland Park, North Shore School District 112 and Township High School District 113 say they are confident the recordings have stopped.
Now think back to what we just saw. Person walk in, seen, treated, all within minutes. And over here, meanwhile, a person is getting denied. Healthcare is being denied to somebody who really needs it. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. This should not be happening.
All right, we just saw those two split into two different things. There's an airport, but these are planes coming in. Okay? You can see those. You can see the difference between the plane landing and these two above it. Tell me the differentiation between the two. One has blinking lights with a transponder. The other one just split into another orb. There's three now. They might get in a triangle formation like they did the last time.
Looks like it's trying to split off again.
It is. It might. Keep eyes on it. I'm going to look at this plane over here so everybody can see the difference between a plane and an orb. Plane. Orb. And they have to be getting flight data right now. I'm also going to check the flight radar, and we're going to see all the air traffic coming through here.
Better look real quick. Oh, that's that car.
Yeah, it's a hybrid.
I was like, what kind of foreign noise is that?
I wonder if these pilots are calling in saying, hey, we're seeing something up here, guys. This is over Phoenix right now.
Now, I wonder, with all that activity going on and everything we've experienced thus far this year with planes, that's way too much activity for planes to be flying through that. Why is that even being allowed? See, this is the problem right here. This lets me know that somebody's lying, that they don't know what that is in the sky, because no way you allow a plane to go up it. Like, no, something's not right.
What if I told you we might be living in the wrong year and that nearly 300 years of history never actually happened? This is called the phantom time hypothesis, and it suggests that we're actually living in the 1700s, not 2025. According to this theory, nearly 300 years between 614 and 911 AD were completely fabricated. Think about it, there's actually very little archaeological evidence for this period. Some even believe that Charlemagne, one of history's most famous rulers, never existed and was completely made up to legitimize the Roman Empire. The theory proposed in 1991 by historian Hilibert Illig, I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, who noticed that the medieval calendar does not match up with astronomical data. He suggested that the Holy Roman Emperor Otto III, along with Pope Sylvester II, altered the timeline to the year 1000 because it had more significant impact to Christian prophecy. Even modern astronomers say that there are some recorded eclipses from that era that do not match with actual celestial events. Some even believe that the Vatican holds documents that proves this deception, but keep it hidden from the public. So if this theory is true, what year are we in? What does it mean for prophecy? And more importantly, what else are they hiding from us?
Bro, does anyone else feel like we are just straight up cooked, man? Like, it's one thing that we know all this stuff now and can try to be better, even though we can't, because everything's toxic. But before I knew all this, I've been eating off pans like this for years, my guy. No. Like, we can do the best we can to be healthy and stuff, but I think by the time we are old, we're gonna have, I mean, you know, the asbestos and all this other stuff, but I don't know, dude. It just seems like we're really just poisoning ourselves nonstop. Like,
Bro, I got pots and pans in my cabinets like that right now. Probably ate off it this week. Like, who can buy a new set of pots and pans in this inflationary environment every time one is scratched or something like that? Like, who can do that? I don't know of too many people who can just continuously buy pots and pans over and over again. I can't. This one here, I'm gonna have to live with this one, I think.
If Elon Musk's child's son, who's a literal toddler, feels comfortable telling Donald Trump to his face that he's not the president, he needs to go away, and that he needs to shut his mouth, this kid is a toddler, and he feels comfortable saying this to Donald Trump. What does that tell you about what Elon Musk is saying to Donald Trump behind closed doors? This kid didn't just come up with these things to say on his own. He heard that somewhere. Food for thought, that's it. If Elon
Yes, we all know kids are little tape recorders, bro. Whatever you say, they're going to say it back. That's why when you say a word and then down the line you hear your child say it, you can't get mad at him because you know he got that from you ultimately. And he don't know the difference between good words and bad words yet. He just repeating.
Look, y'all, do not get scammed. I don't know if y'all heard about the Amway scam, but let me break down for you how it works, right? You gonna be out in public, somebody gonna walk up to you. This has happened to me about 8 or 9 times at this point, no exaggeration. All since I've been in Texas, Dallas, Texas. For instance, the other day, a lady walk up to me in the gym, compliment my shoes, right? Get the conversation flowing. They great with conversation, great conversationalists. They gonna get the conversation flowing, then they gonna say, well, what do you do for work? Are you from here? Stuff like that, right? Now, they always say the same thing. It's always the same script. They work in the e-commerce space. Oh, I work in the e-commerce space. And then they gonna start asking stuff about what you think about like expanding your business or growing stuff, little stuff like that, right? And now it's always, this is where they get you. This is the same thing every time. I swear I'm not exaggerating. I'll post screenshots of messages that people done sent me and everything if y'all need. No exaggeration. She holler out, and all of them say the same thing. Yeah, this couple that I met, they're my mentors. They retired at 35. It's always 35. This couple, they're mentors, and they helped me retire. Now I work in the e-commerce space, and now they're looking to work and mentor with other people, but they're very selective. If they so got selective, why is you walking around Target? It's usually Target, the gym. I even got approached in my apartment one time with this. And I'm not going, you know, it seemed to me like they target younger people. So y'all just be safe out there. It's not, if somebody come up telling you they sell online products and asking you what you do for a living, I promise it ain't nothing you're gonna get out of it. It's a scam. You can look this up on Reddit. There's a Reddit thread of over 100,000 different stories about this. That's how I found out what it was, through Reddit and through TikTok. So again, this has happened to me since I've been in Texas about 8 times. I never bit for it. I never gave no information. I never, you feel me, did none of that. I never got so deep into it, but just, I know there's some of y'all that may. They gonna sell you a story that sounds so good, don't fall for it. I promise you it's a scam. Look, y'all, do not get scammed.
Safe thing to say at this point is, like, every person you come in contact with just about is a scammer. Everybody got a scam that they hustling these days. Like, what is going on? We live amongst the scammers. They outnumber us.
Why is it that members of Congress who are given a top secret security clearance are being denied access? That's not a free and true government. And so for us, especially being that we have now a Secretary of State who's actually open to declassification in Marco Rubio, we're hoping to present that information and at least acknowledge it from a government perspective that we are not alone, but also let's see what the evidence is.
2 bodies found in a river in Aberdeen have been identified as 2 sisters who had gone missing, police have confirmed. Henrietta and Eliza Husty, both 32 and part of a set of triplets, disappeared during a bitterly cold spell last month, sparking a major search operation. They were last seen in the early hours of the 7th of January, when they crossed the Victoria Bridge and turned right onto a footpath next to the river. Detectives had previously revealed that the sisters had visited the same bridge the day before, and they also texted their landlady from the bridge area in the early hours of the 7th of January saying that they wouldn't be returning to their flat, something which they didn't tell their family. A police spokesperson said inquiries remain ongoing to establish the exact cause of death. However, there are no apparent suspicious circumstances. Their brother Joseph said that the family could not comprehend the events and that there were many unanswered questions. 2 bodies found in a river in Aberdeen.
Sounded like they did it to themselves, right? Is that your conclusion? That's what I drew from that a little bit. I don't know, but jeez, man, just be careful, y'all. Be careful. And if it's the other way around, talk to somebody. Please talk to somebody.
Behind this unmarked garage door, pulling out onto the streets of Palo Alto, California, is a fleet of cars mounted with cameras, helping Google to map the world, something it's now been doing for 20 years.
Here is where we're both repairing, building the cameras, keeping them maintained.
Google's cameras have taken billions of images to map millions of miles in more than 100 countries, and they've come a long way.
How many of y'all have seen them cars riding around the street and you just try to look and see what's going on and be nosy? Probably caused a couple wrecks or close to.
Since Street View images first published in 2007.
This is our very first camera system. It's 500 pounds, and we needed a forklift to put it on top of the van.
By 2008, the 9 camera systems were 70.
Oh, we done came a long way. A long way. That thing was 500 pounds on top of the van. Now that's what you call by any means necessary.
5 pounds, mounted on everything from snowmobiles to tricycles.
So this allowed us to open up Europe. Europe has a lot of pedestrian areas, and we can't drive through those.
In 2010 came 15 camera 50-pound spheres, wearable by backpackers, underwater divers, even camels. And in 2018 came an even lighter 40-pound system I tried wearing on my back.
This is like what it's like to backpack with a baby.
Yeah.
We went to Grand Canyon and Machu Picchu, places that you can only really walk into.
With more than 2 billion monthly users, Google Maps is the world's top navigation app. And now Alphabet-owned Maps is using generative AI to keep ahead of the pack, with new consumer-facing features and AI analysis of billions of images to keep the map up to date.
We're making 100 million.
What happened to Waze? I think it was only useful because it could, at the time, it was the only one probably picking up on like police scanners and radar or radar systems or whatever, letting you know, hey, police up there, slow down, slow it down. After that phased out and everybody else started doing it too, I ain't hear too much about it since.
Updates to the map every single day. It's phenomenal.
We went to Silicon Valley for a ride-along with Google's mapping fleet and a first-ever on-camera look at the Street View Service Center, where we sat down with the head of Maps to talk traffic, data privacy, and all the changes coming thanks to generative AI. There was a time when paper maps were king. Then it was MapQuest printouts and standalone GPS units from companies like Garmin and TomTom. Then in 2005, Google made a bold move into maps, following an idea from co-founder Larry Page.
This is where we started mapping. About 20 years ago, Larry drove down some of these streets with a video camera and handed it to someone and said, "Hey, what can you do with this?"
Maria Biggs has been with Google for more than 10 years. She drove us around its headquarters in a car equipped with the latest generation Street View camera, first introduced in 2022. It's the first Street View camera that can be used on any car rather than being built in.
As you can imagine, it's not tied to a specific car. We can rent a car, say, like an island. So we're going to Hawaii with these next generation camera systems because we don't have to ship the whole car.
Street View cameras are a significant part of how Google gathers data for maps, but it also relies on satellite and aerial images, 1,000+ third-party sources, and info from local governments and directly from Maps users. All this allows it to offer maps in a whopping 250+ countries and territories. Now, the more nimble cameras are helping Google make updates to dozens of those countries and map at least 3 new ones: Bosnia and Herzegovina, Namibia, and Liechtenstein.
We can easily just take it to the next island without having to ship the entire car. And so some places that we haven't refreshed, collected in, say, 10 years, we're going to be able to easily move these cameras around.
It used to be an extremely manual pipeline for any digital map maker. But increasingly, you have these various IoT devices, this combination of sensing, processing, and connectivity that allows you to update this map more automatically and therefore potentially more cheaply and in a way that is ultimately more scalable.
The way it works now, Big says.
See, AI ain't that bad. Ain't all that bad. Let's say that then. Think about it before you go out of the country. How are you getting around without somebody locally there giving you a tour? But now people travel so frequently and there for short amount of time, but want to do things, they don't have time to or want to afford pay the cost to get somebody to take them around. Now, I do still suggest that because you don't know who hood you in, but imagine just using the Google Maps to get around.
Is the cameras record images locally as they're driven around by a fleet of Street View employees who ingest the images once they return to a hub, like this Street View garage in Palo Alto.
How many other garages like this are there around the world? So we have 3 total, one in each region, one in APAC, one in Europe, and one here.
Also on site here is the Street View Service Center.
This is where all of the cameras come through when they move from different locations. This is a next-gen camera system where it has been to Australia. We did some really extreme testing in really hot tropical areas. And so we bring it back and we make sure everything's still functional. We clean it up before it goes back out to another country.
More images and more detail from the new cameras also provide a rich data set for Google's AI models, resulting in a flurry of new consumer-facing features in the last couple years. One is Immersive View. Think of it like a supercharged version of Street View, using AI to fuse together billions of Street View and aerial images to show a lifelike preview of each step on the route.
We use the imagery and neural radiance fields, which is a generative AI technique, to actually take a photo and transform it into a 3D representation of a place. So almost like you can look into a restaurant, and we overlay the conditions, like what is the actual, how busy it is and what the weather might be, air quality.
And in October, Google announced a bunch.
Now imagine that, right? Doing that, and what we talked about the other day when we was talking about how they disrespect our food. We were showing a restaurant where the dude was cutting up the meat outside. Imagine being able to go to Google Maps, you're looking for a restaurant to go to, and then you click on the restaurant, and then you click the map, or no, the camera inside of the app, and it shows you inside of the restaurant, and it takes you through the steps of them cooking your food, the whole process. Like, this stuff is upgrading fast, and I'm pretty sure in the near future, we may be able to do what I just said.
More AI features. One major one, Maps, is now enabled with Gemini, Google's generative AI chatbot.
Where could I watch Sunday's football game while drinking a beer and bring my dog?
Here you go. There's all these places that show up. This is historically kind of hard information to find, and now with a quick tap, you can learn about it.
Chris Phillips joined Google in 2021 to head up all of Geo, the division in charge of Maps. He showed us some of the newest AI features.
This place has 2,000 reviews. Kind of a lot of reading to do. We summarize it using Gemini for you right away.
Gemini is also enabling voice-activated reports in Waze, which Google bought in 2013 for $1.3 billion.
I'm gonna try it out. There's some construction out there.
Construction recorded.
To get consumers to actually use these things, they need to be easy to use, and a voice interface is the best kind of interface that you can have in the cabin. It allows you to keep your eyes out on the road. It allows you to keep your hands on the wheel.
In Google Earth, Gemini is enabling custom visualizations that can help with high-level city planning tasks.
They might want to be thinking about where should we put EV charging stations in this area. And we can help them map quickly with looking at where's the current EV charging, what are the different stores and shops. They can overlay information around population and quickly do the surveying work and help them do that to make those decisions faster.
On public.
Now you see why they're trying to get the EV stations back going. That whole contract that they had that now they put on hold and paused. Now you see why. They're slowing them down with things they got moving and they rolling out right now. They're slowing them down. This is why.
Public transit, there are now delay reports, alternate routes, and details like subway entrance locations. And in navigation, AI is enabling real-time reports of weather disruptions like unplowed roads, flooded areas, and spots with low visibility.
And then we have this new arrival experience where when you get to your destination, we can help you with not just where to park, but even that last step of walking along the way.
While AI helps curate these details into an updated experience, it's being fed real-time data that often comes from you, the users.
We have over 500 million people who are contributing updates to the map every day. That's things like reviews or keeping the hours up to date, and even like what to expect as far as issues on the road on the way there.
But users also provide data to Google Maps passively too. Traffic delays, for instance, are predicted in part using live information like speed and drive time from the millions of drivers who use Maps each day.
So what was it like on this roadway on this day of the week at this time of day? What is that historical pattern? And we use anonymized data so it's not linked to any individual user, so we aggregate that information to know the historical trend.
Data ownership and data privacy have always been, one of the major perception barriers that Google has had to overcome.
Over the years, Google has put in safeguards to help.
We built technology to blur faces and even blur things like license plates.
Location history is valuable data for Google, but users can now turn off location history or delete places they've been. And some, like abortion clinics or domestic violence shelters, are auto-deleted. And in a private...
Come on now, stop lying to us. Nothing's deleted these days, bro. Not text message, not any type of history or nothing. It's in some cloud somewhere. Yeah, it ain't gone. Like, they need to even just remove that whole saying and word from these devices. Like, you can actually delete. You can't delete nothing. Just remove.
Privacy-conscious move in December, Google started keeping location history on device instead of in the cloud tied to users' Google accounts, making it tougher for authorities to access location history. And users can request blurring an area on Street View, say to prevent thieves from analyzing their property. But there is an upside to all this data, too. It gives Google a lot of power to warn drivers of hazards.
Especially when you have conditions happening like a flooded road, and we can surface it for other drivers in almost real time. It really does make a difference in helping avoid what could be other problems happening on the road.
Google Maps gets updated with data from Waze, where reporting is core to the experience for loyal users.
Built into just the DNA of Waze is this idea of two-way interaction, and what has been a very virtuous cycle for Waze and therefore indirectly for Google.
You're continually adding updates on what you see happening on the road, and we'll give you some more provocative maneuvers along the way when you're deciding, beating the traffic and getting around.
But alternate routes have also worsened traffic in some neighborhoods, where small roads can be ill-equipped to handle many cars.
We use public roads that are available for driving, and we work constantly with the local authorities, the different agencies that are responsible for transportation, and they help us with what are the rules for the specific roads, and we follow those.
The use of these navigation apps, whether embedded or on smartphone devices, is almost universal. And so we are approaching a point where there needs to be kind of a more broader, almost fleet level view, considering how can we use these services to optimize traffic flow from a social point of view, rather than just different individuals trying to gain an advantage over each other.